we have some doubters in our midst. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Hit that sub, hit that bell, and send that like, and let's get right to it. We'll talk about that here in a moment because we don't start with no negativity, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk some positivity. Cardinals are favorites over the Panthers this weekend. Coming off a week 1 victory in New Orleans, they've opened up as a 6.5 point favorite in the home opener against the Carolina Panthers. I will be in attendance as I am for every Cardinals home game. What we need to look out for versus Carolina now. Bryce Young seemed to have found his footing about halfway through last season, literally, specifically against us in the 36-30 win, overtime win. I think it was at their place. He went 17 for 26 and 158 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Super respectable numbers for sure. And then he ran all over us. 5 carries, 68 yards and a score. He figured out he could run and get first downs that way. The one thing about Bryce Young that he couldn't do early in his early last year was, in the year before actually, yeah, and get third down conversions, right? So he figured out, hey, I got legs. I can run a little bit. Let's try it. And they did. He did. And he killed us with it, right? And especially, specifically in that overtime, in the overtime period, he just whooped us with his feet. So we can not allow that this time around. I think we'll do well against them, specifically with our new defensive line and pass rushers. Now, have fun running around with Josh Sweat and Darius Robinson looking to take your head off, and then linebackers right behind them just begging for a shot at the quarterback. They opened up their season up last week with a loss against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Young went, they're 18 for 35, 154 yards, touchdown and 2 picks, which is, what we expected from him last year, and he didn't do that against us. But he did run 5 times this last week for 40 yards. So 40 yards, though, account for first downs and such, so that's very important for them. They're going to definitely keep doing that with him, but it's going to be containing him with defensive ends and the D-line. So we'll break this down a lot more through the week, but a name we all need to keep in mind is Team Mac, my boy Tatara McMillan, number 4, coming out of my University of Arizona Wildcats. The first-round pick he didn't wow with his 5 catches for 68 yards, but some of those catches were tough. That man has incredibly strong hands, and he catches balls that have no business being caught. It's just plain and simple. He's definitely a wide receiver 1 for sure. Maybe even this season, we'll see. So, and he is a wide receiver 1 for them due to absolute necessity, but he's going to develop into legit WR1 here this season, I believe. So we'll see what T-Mac has to do against us. But Will Johnson, he ready for you, bro. Of course, we still have Trevor Hubbard and Trevor Etienne in the backfield, but we'll break this down some more tomorrow in the shows that come through the week. Now, what I'm hoping for here, are we going to see like some steady improvement from his team? Now, keep in mind, first teamers didn't get much action in the preseason, so we should definitely expect some real improvement this week, from week 1 to week 2, at least I believe. It's when they actually get a ton of reps together. They get through the grind of a game, the halftime adjustments, and all that. I expect this game 2 to look a lot better, especially offensively, but that D-line for sure. But we'll talk about here in a minute. Kyler Murray played the game sick last week according to the injury report, literally like an hour before the game. They put him on the injury report for no reason. They didn't give him designation, nothing. They said he felt ill before the game, but he pushed through it, man. Put up solid numbers, couple scores, and most importantly, no turnovers. That was the key to him, because turnovers are the death of any offense and will end the game quickly if we're not careful. So he took care of the ball, didn't get away. Obviously, didn't at all do any like dumb plays in terms of fumbling the ball. I think he did get sacked a couple times that was not good, but really, really bad sacks. Some of those were on the O-line. We'll talk about that later. The running backs played well, albeit a bit rusty when it comes to James Conner, but Trey Benson was a nice change of pace. He actually, he busted out that 57-yard run when he came in on his package of runs. So, but I want to see some more from Conner. Conner, he had a couple plays. What he likes to do is he takes off running the way he's supposed to, and if he sees it close, he turns his hips and just starts, hauling to the other end. The problem is he's not that fast. He's just very big and strong and quick for his size. But he'll figure it out through the season, of course. Trey McBride was Trey McBride. Now, if we could just get into the end zone, Trey. It's not even Trey's fault. Kyler, he's in there somewhere. He's a big dude. Get him the ball. The offensive line played well, though. They did give up a couple sacks, more than a couple sacks. They gave up 5, but not all of them were on them. Kyler did hold the ball a little too long on a couple of those. So, it is what it is. Receivers played well for sure, man. Even Michael Wilson got on the act. But I do need him to step up, put the better numbers up for, to make his case for wide receiver 2. Otherwise, we got to try and trade 1 for 1. I still want Quentin Johnston from the Chargers, and he kicked ass last week. I definitely want to see him on the Cardinals jersey, but With the game we played last week, it's going to be a little more expensive to get him. Defensive line is where I need to see some big improvement in week 2, though. 1 sack and barely any hits on the quarterback. A little bit of pressure, come on. Josh Sweat got real close to that in that backfield, but we need Darius Robinson to step up on the other side. And we need the middle of that D-line to get to the quarterback and quick. That was a problem. It was really odd to see with Tomlinson in there. I think missing Walter Nolan in there is going to be is hurting us a little bit. Now, I know he's not proven. He's a rookie. He hasn't played yet. Not in his first game anyway. Or not in his debut. But we need him in there. We need to see what he's got because we need pressure down up the middle and around the sides. That pocket has to look like the walls are closing in on the quarterback. Has to happen that way. And without a good defensive push in the middle, we're not going to get that, right? What's going to happen is that the D ends on the side are going to go around that D line. If the middle's not pushing up right there, a hole's going to open up. A decent O line can make that happen. So we need to definitely have to put in work on that. Get to the quarterback and get there quick. Linebackers seem like a couple guys were solid this week. Nothing crazy. I would like to see the Cardinals go out and get a guy for the linebacker core. We'll talk about more tomorrow. I got a couple ideas. And then the DBs, man. I mean, Budda Baker did Baker things, plenty of tackles, wrap-ups and everything. And Will Johnson should have had his first interception of the season. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. All right? Now, is this the year we actually get better? Yes. I'll tell you why. Okay. Offensive side. Will Johnson. He got the highest grade, defensive grade from PFF on this entire defense. Spencer Rattler tried to test him a few times. I think it was like 7 targets. He only gave up like 4 catches for like 34 yards, something like that. Will Johnson did. He had that nasty hit on Chris Olave. Like it was nasty. He put that dude on skates, rang his bell. Made him think his mom was calling him for home for dinner. It was a nice hit. He was super happy with it. You could tell, man, when a rookie like him, especially, but when a rookie goes in and hits someone so hard, they got to take a minute. His teammates, like Mac Wilson Sr. was the first one right there, just like, hey, boy, let's go. They hyped him up and everything. It's really nice to see a rookie actually start living up to his potential. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick, right? Flew to us in the second round. Everyone was afraid of the little injury on his foot. I believe it was the Achilles and all that. Team doctors were like, no, he's fine. He was adamant. He's like, I'm ready to go. And he is damn sure ready to go. You guys see him get up for that interception. It was beautifully done. And so the only crappy part, Max Melton on the other side of the field getting called for a hold, I believe. That was a crappy call. I ain't going to sugarcoat it for y'all, man. The refs are trash in this game. Trash. Missed plenty of calls. Missed a ton of holds, by the way, on the Panthers. Now, Panthers got quite a few penalties called on them. Right, but more in the second half than the first, they missed a ton of stuff. I mean, a ton of stuff. Cardinals got screwed in a few calls and everything, but I'm not going to say it's, they're getting the Chiefs treatment because they're definitely not. Not us, not the Saints either. But they did miss a lot of calls, and it was early on in the season. You expect that and everything. You kind of hope they improve quickly. Really would hate to see really garbage, ref performance like we did in that lockout season. If you guys remember, the refs were, they walked out, they locked out, whatever, and they were on strike. And the college, we brought in like college referees, and they were terrible. Like they weren't just bad, they were awful. So hopefully we don't get that kind of reffing this season. But you never know, man. You never know. All right, hot take. What is going on with the national media? We're getting doubted already, folks. What is the deal with that? Why are we already getting, the boo birds, for lack of a better term, right? I get it. Week 1, we didn't wow anybody. I get it. But if you've been following this team, you're happy with what happened. Because 1, we got the win. And 2, we didn't turn the ball over, right? We saw plenty of improvements here and there and everything. I know we started to gel everything together. To expect them to come out week 1 and just do knockout punches is it's stupid. It's not going to work. I mean, a real football fan will understand that. It takes time to build that synergy, that chemistry, that flow. Get everyone get together and everything. It takes a lot to get that going. It isn't just time. It is time on the field, but it isn't just the on the field play. We're talking, the receiver room. We're talking the quarterback room. Like all these different positions need to get together and really work on their craft and build that chemistry. I'm telling you, that O-line gets that chemistry going. I know Evan Brown had a couple really crappy penalties, and I think Adams had one, and I know Isaiah Adams is his first time being a starter for the Cardinals, I believe, but that's usually Will Hernandez's spot, and I think They're going to give, with Will's knee, being, bumped up a little bit, they're going to give Adams plenty of time to, get some run in there, right? And give him a chance to really prove himself. I just feel better that if he doesn't, well, Hernandez is going to be ready to step up here in the next couple weeks. It's going to be nice to see. And, of course, rotating those two, keeping that spot fresh. I'm sure Kyler will appreciate that. There was a couple miscues last week, of course, now that I think about it. But either way, I think this is more on the Kyler thing. I think everyone just looks at Kyler these days and they're just like, why are the Cardinals hanging on to him, right? And one, the biggest reason is because, one, we paid him, okay? We paid him up. And two, who are you replacing him with? Again, I will debate this with anybody till the end of the day. Who are you going to replace him with? And are you cool with having $58 million of dead space in there? Because I don't think we are. Like we are not. Definitely not. So, yeah, I get the national media is doubting us and everything. I understand it. It's every single season. Sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes they got a point. Most of the time, I believe this season they don't. Now again, are we going to win the Super Bowl this year? Probably not. But I think we're definitely contenders for the playoffs for sure. And you never know. Once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. I mean, we saw that in 08. I mean, we made the Super Bowl with a 9-8 record or something like that with Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald just to get our hearts ripped out literally in the last second of that game. I still have nightmares about that. May or may not have been crying at a bar that night, which was pretty bad. So it is what it is. But hey, this is a new year, new season, new team technically if you think about it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see. So. Yeah, so expect more stuff, obviously, this week. We'll break down the game, what I expect from the quarterback, from the receivers, from the running backs, from the defense, from the O-line, everything, little by little through the week, bringing more rumors and more reports on the Cardinals. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the Panthers this week, and that's going to do it for this episode of Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Don't forget to hit that sub, hit that bell, hit that like, leave a comment, and I will see you all tomorrow.